So here I am. It's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk out in Nebraska. So Jill is in the city. I'm in the country. We're both driving the Jeep Wrangler 392 this week. And yeah, I had some fun. Got the Freedom top down and cruising the countryside. And in my part of the video, I'll tell you here in a little while, I'll tell you what my thoughts are off-road. I'll tell you how much fun it is on-road a little bit as well. But we're going to go back to Jill here in a second, and she will give you the lowdown on the engine and the interior and her likes and dislikes. But yeah, I certainly had a lot of fun with this Jeep Wrangler 392. And yeah, mine's in silver, hers is in red. Really impressive machine and really a lot of fun to drive.
Hi, this is Jill Simonello with Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and this week we're driving something a little bit special. It is the 2021 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392. So what is special about this vehicle is the engine and the fact that Jeep actually built it in the first place. This was a concept car, and frankly, I never thought I'd see a V8 engine under the hood of a Wrangler, but here you go. So in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the engine, and we're going to take a look at some of the cool features and some of the things that I don't like on this vehicle. And I'll be honest with you, I really had to pick nits to tell you what I don't like, because this vehicle is so flippin' fun. I'm having a blast. So let's take a closer look right now. Before I get into my likes and dislikes, let's talk a little bit about the engine, because frankly, that's why we're here, isn't it? So this is a 6.4 liter V8 engine. It's a Hemi, and it delivers 470 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. Now, while this isn't quite Hellcat level of power, it is still pretty significant for a Jeep. And by the way, like, I don't know that I'd want any more than 470 horsepower on this vehicle. It promises to deliver a 4.5 second 0 to 60 mile per hour time, though I have to tell you, I may have tested it out, but I didn't time it. When you're trying to merge on a highway in Chicago, it's kind of like going 0 to 60 and as fast as you can, and this did really well. Plus, with the performance exhaust, just the way this car sounds when you're accelerating, people just move out of your way. It's pretty awesome. So while we're standing here, what I want to say is this is the #1 thing on my like list. I love this engine. I love how it drives, I love how it performs, and I love the instantaneous acceleration that you get. I swear, every time I accelerated, there was a little giggle coming out of me. And it just was one of those things, I mean, just thinking about it, you can see the big grin on my face. It just makes me smile. So if you are looking for something that is going to be capable off-road, but is going to be a hell of a lot of fun to drive on the highway, this is it. Plus, frankly, with all of the cool design features, which we'll talk through because that's going to be one of my favorite things, this just looks really cool. So #1 thing on the list that I like is going to be the engine.
Speaking of the engine, check this out. This is what this Jeep gives you. You can just go after it. You don't have to worry about rock crawling. Don't have to worry about like 4 low and crawling over stuff. You just put the pedal to the metal and it has enough power to get over any obstacle. And that oh yeah, that exhaust note right there. Isn't that incredible? And it looks so good off-road too. So, you know, like Jill's doing a lot of city driving, I'm doing a little off-road driving, and it just looks great in the environment. Short wheelbase, tons of power, and a lot of fun. And it feels pretty stable too. It didn't feel like I was going to roll over at all during this clip. Let's get back to Jill.
Now, the second thing on my like list is going to concern design elements, and some of them are going to be specific to the 392, and others you'll find on other Jeeps. I just find them cool, and yes, I'm talking about Easter eggs. So I'm going to flip the camera around and we're going to talk about design. One of the most notable design elements on this vehicle is going to concern all of the bronze accents. So first you'll notice the bronze tow hooks, but hey, if you look at the lettering, like on Rubicon and up on the 392 on the hood, all of it is outlined in that really cool bronze color, and it's here behind Jeep. You also see it inside on the seats with the stitching. So that in and of itself tells you this is special. And you have one more little hook back here, which is also bronze. So that will tell you this is a 392. Now, let's take a look at some of the Jeep Easter eggs. Jeep is really well known for putting some design elements in their vehicles, and some of them are hidden, some of them are a little bit more obvious, but here you'll notice this is the specifications for the JL. I think that looks really cool. It's a nice little touch, you know, for the 2-door, 4-door, and then it tells you what the water fording level is. So it's 30 inches, by the way, in case you can't read it. And I think that's kind of cool. Developed in Auburn Hills, built in Toledo, Ohio. So that's kind of cool. But one you might not notice is hidden back here. So let's see if we can get a good picture of this. So this right here, the JL right here, you see those dots under there? It's not Braille, that's Morse code. I thought that was kind of cool that they put some Morse code on there, and it simply says JL in Morse code. Now, a lot of Jeeps will have a little Jeep icon on the wheels. This doesn't have it, but again, you'll see some of the bronze accenting here on the wheels, but no Jeep Easter egg there. I noticed on the floor mats you have a topographical map. I think this is Moab. I could be wrong about that, so I apologize if I am, but I seem to recall that's what that is. So you have a little topographical map right there, and on the center hump you have an old Jeep Willys. So I think that looks really cool. When you get behind the wheel and you power up, you'll notice a cute little Easter egg behind there with the little Jeep driving across the bottom. And then when you look throughout the cabin, I love the fact that there's, you know, the Jeep emblem here. You have, when you look at your HVAC controls, you know, your recirc right there has a little Jeep icon on it. I mean, they could have used anything, but they used a Jeep. And I think that also looks really cool. And again, down here, another Jeep emblem. Now, there are probably some Easter eggs that I haven't mentioned, but I'm going to leave you with my favorite one, and that is the little Jeep Willys right here on the windshield, climbing up the side. I always get a kick out of this. It makes me laugh every time I see it. Now, one of the coolest things on this vehicle is the available Sky One Touch Power Top. And basically what happens here is you hit a button that looks like a window button once, and this roof here goes all the way back to create a really open air experience. And it's easy and it doesn't take any effort. One of the joys of having a Jeep is the open air experience, but often taking out the panels, taking off the canvas top, trying to store it can be a little bit much. But this makes it really easy. Press the button, goes all the way back. There are some removable rear side panels as well, and there's a case for that you can take them out and put them in the case and then store them in the back. But if you just want a little bit of a convertible experience, without all the wind, by the way, this is it. And it's super easy, again, to close. Another one-touch operation, and here you go. There's nothing to latch, there's nothing to lock, there's nothing to unlock. It's just a button. I like that sound. What I don't like is how noisy this cabin is, and it is a little bit noisy. So in addition to having a canvas top that lets in a little noise on the highway, when you turn on the performance exhaust, I don't have it on at the moment, but it is really loud, and it almost sounds like a diesel engine. Like, it's diesel engine loud. It is loud. So that's why, in a way, I was really surprised that when I called my husband, he could hear none of that. So that is a darn good mic that is going on up there to not capture any of that extraneous noise. Now, the second thing on my do not like list is going to be one of those things that, again, is a little bit of a given. You have a V8 engine under the hood and you're driving a Jeep, which doesn't get good gas mileage on the best of days. But you combine the fact that you're in a Wrangler with the fact that you've got a V8 engine and your fuel economy is just, yeah, just don't even think about it. Like, you're not going to get good fuel economy. I've been idling a little bit and I'm just below 11 miles per gallon, but even before I started idling a little bit, I was like at just above 11 miles per gallon. So I've not been getting good fuel economy. And EPA estimates that you'll get between 13 and 17 miles per gallon, depending on whether you're driving in the city or on the highway. I'm going to say you're probably not going to get 13 miles per gallon. And now I'm going to end my do not like list where I began, and that is with this area here. And it's not really anything to do with the engine, it's how you access the engine. This is not an easy process. So at first I initially was looking inside for a trunk release pull, and there isn't one. You simply unlatch these items on the side here, and then in order to pop up the hood, you lift this up, and there's a little latch here that you kind of push to the side, and then you can push this up here. Okay, so here's the problem I run into. I can't push this up any higher to get this in the prop right here. So what I found myself doing, and I didn't want to put my hands here because it's really unsteady. What if it falls? I really like my fingers. So climbing on top of the bumper, thank goodness it's strong and I don't weigh very much, and fitting it in there like this. Clearly that is not the intent for this vehicle, to have people standing on the bumper to get the hood open. So again, falls in the category of short people problems, but yeah, if you are on the more petite side of things, you're probably not going to be lifting this up very much, because it is not easy. So then, to get it down, it's a reverse, you know, standing up here, putting it in there, dropping it down. But you know, I found like kind of crawling across the bumper, because sometimes I had to sit on the hood to be able to get this latch in place. Clearly not the easiest thing for somebody on the petite side of things, but again, most people are not going to have that problem. So the final thing, picking nits on my do not like list.
All right, out on the open road. This thing is fantastic. Granted, yes, it still suffers from the same thing most Jeeps suffer from. It gets a little squirrely at higher speeds. It's a little loud on the highway, and it's got really poor gas mileage, fuel economy. I mean, it's kind of a joke how low I can get this number to go down on my screen. It's just ridiculous. But so what? It's a 392 engine. It's a V8. It's a V8 powered Jeep Wrangler. I have it in Rubicon. This is a dream vehicle for a lot of Jeep owners, and this thing is fantastic.
Hopefully brief driving impressions before I let you go. And what I want to say is this is really a lot of fun. The engine is great. The horsepower is amazing. And obviously, as is reflected by my fuel economy, I've been having a lot of fun in this vehicle this week. But outside of the really great engine, this is still a Jeep Wrangler, which means it has all the cool capability and functionality that a Wrangler has. So your sway bar disconnect, your locking front and rear differentials, you have off-road pages that show you how the vehicle is performing in an off-road situation. In addition to that rear camera, you have a front trail cam that shows you the obstacles as you are driving over them, so you don't put your tires on something sharp and pointy. But outside of that, you've got the interior creature comforts, including Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You have heated steering wheel, heated seats, you've got leather wrapped steering wheel, as well as really comfortable leather seats. So the driving position is good. I feel very comfortable in this car, and they've just done a really great job. And while you do get some interior noise in the cabin while you're on the highway, and you have a lot of noise when you hit that performance exhaust button, overall, if you're familiar with Jeep, you get what you expect in this vehicle. And the fact that the microphone is really good and you can make a phone call with all of the noise that's going to creep in, I'm gonna give that a really super duper big thumbs up.
From my standpoint of driving it, the time period I've had it for, big smile. Big smile. It's great. So there you go. There's Jill and my thoughts on the 2021 Jeep Wrangler 392. For other cool videos, check it out over here. Website down below. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you down the road.